Hello, how are you doing? My name is Shay Dunphy. I'm one of the guidance counsellors here in St. Joseph's Rochford Bridge. I'd like to welcome you to this presentation today in relation to subject choice for your son or daughter who will be making this choice over the next couple of days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this presentation with you. You'll see me in the right-hand corner as I go through it. But the information that I'm presenting here will be hopefully of use to you in relation to working with your son or your daughter and picking the right subject for them. So if you just bear with me a second, I'm going to pull up that presentation so I can go through the various aspects to it. So like we've arrived at the start of the year, I should say, when we met your son or your daughter, and we met them all individually. And since then, they have been going through some of the sample subjects. They'll be sampling all the range of subjects that you have here in St. Joseph's Rochford Bridge. So now we've got to a point where they make a decision on what they're going to choose. So there's 8 subjects, and they'll choose 2 that are best suited to them based on a number of factors, which I'll go through now in a second. As you'll see there are 2 guidance counsellors in the school, myself, Mr. Dunphy, and located exactly directly across from my office is Miss Malloy. So again, we have right across the guidance group, we have 2 guidance counsellors working with your child. So the first thing to just point out is that to give sort of shape on what I'm actually talking about here, in front of you, you'll see that there's different topics that I'm going to cover. So just to make it absolutely clear what it is from your end that you would need to be mindful of. The first thing is that there are important dates that basically are over the next couple of days that you need to be aware of. And of course, there's going to be a Microsoft Office form that you'll receive as well. That will be the medium through which the subject choice will be made, and the school will then take those details and try and allocate the subjects chosen to your child's timetable. What will be a main aspect of my presentation is the actual 8 subjects through which your child will pick 2 out of. So I'm going to go through the subjects, not in massive detail, but I'll put it into perspective for you so that that you'll be absolutely sure what the subjects are about, and what they relate to later on in school life. I'll be looking at the idea of making wise subject choices as well. You'll see that there in front of you. I'm also going to mention the things that perhaps should be avoided when choosing subjects. These are things that, like pitfalls, that you should be aware of. I'll also look at key things to take into account, and then on the final decision about what the subject choice are going to be, I'm going to just look at, before you decide, or before yourself and your child have agreed to decide on what subjects they are, just the golden rules, or the rules that really you need to be mindful of when making these subject choices. And obviously, observing these type of rules will be of huge benefit, because when your child eventually does go on to senior level, they'll also be making subject choices. So the same sort of rational thinking about how subject choices should be made could be applied there as well. So it'd be a learning experience from that perspective as well. So the first thing really is that the important dates. So as I speak, this is 5 o'clock on the October the 14th, and you will be receiving, by the time you read this, you probably have already received it. You'll be receiving a link from the school to the actual subject choice forms, which the subject choices can be made and then sent back to the school. You don't have to submit the form until the 17th, and that would be the 17th would be about 5 o'clock. So October the 17th, which is Thursday, the subject choice must be submitted to the school by Thursday with a 5 o'clock deadline. Between now and then, both Miss Malloy and myself will have a special subject class with each first year group. So the final sort of briefing for the kids, they'll get that over the next couple of days. It's very likely that a majority, I'd say, of students probably have an idea about what they want to do yet, but we are making sure that by us visiting them that they have absolutely every aspect covered before they make that choice. And then October the 21st, which of course is Monday, and by that stage the students should be finding out their timetables, so they'll be assigned to the classes, and hopefully the ones that they've picked and ready to go on Monday, October the 21st. But as the form will indicate, the school will do its best to find the subjects, but it depends on teaching resources and demand, and there may be a case where some students may go into a lottery system in order to get that subject, and if they don't get it, they have that choice on the form to pick a third choice, which would be their backup just in case. So I can go ahead hopefully now. I hope that all makes sense to you. So that's what the subject choice form, which you probably have already received, will look like. And as you can see, you need to put in the student name, the year group, or sort of the actual class name. And you will also see that you then get to make a choice of the subjects that you want to pick, in addition to a backup subject as well. So this takes us directly into the subject choice that is available. So, and there are, as I said, 8 subjects, and I'm going to start off with home economics. I don't want to be overburdening you with sort of so much information about each subject, but it is just handy for you to get this sort of a briefing on each particular subject, just so that you can then relate it to what your son or your daughter has said, and basically pick that on the basis of them being happy with it, you being happy for them to do that. But there are other factors as well. So let's start off with home economics. How will it be useful to you as a student, being your son, your daughter? How will it be useful to them? The junior cycle home economics subject is a subject that is guaranteed to be used throughout life. It's a real life skill subject, and over the junior cycle it covers 3 key areas. 1 is food, health and culinary skills, 2 is responsible family living, 3 is textiles and craft. So that's home economics really in a nutshell, and it'll probably be very, very, very obvious to your son or your daughter whether they want to do that or not. It's quite clear there from what's been covered whether they're going to like that or not. It'll depend on them as a person, really. Music is the next one. Music, obviously, very important part in many people's lives for leisure reasons, but it's also obviously a subject. And some people may even decide to take up a career in music in areas such as education, business, such as sound engineer, music therapy, for example, or even performance. So in junior cert music, the general basis of what you'll be doing is that you will sing and possibly learn how to play an instrument. And many types of music, such as pop, classical, traditional Irish music, all types of genre, will be covered on the junior cycle music course. And students will also get a chance to start composing as well, which is really interesting. Okay, so the art then is the third subject. Many of the skills, of course, again, will be applicable outside of the classroom as well. Really good at career opportunities there in terms of getting in photography, illustration, industrial fashion design, education, architecture. All of those types of, let's say, skills can be applied to those careers that have been gleaned from doing art at junior cert level. So again, art will, you'll probably have, it'll be very clear with your student because of its specific, the things that it covers, that you'll know whether or not your student is, or your son, your daughter is definitely up for doing that or not. The next one is business. Encourages students to develop an appreciation of how people's lives are shaped by economic and social factors. Really, in a nutshell, it's just students get a really good handle on how to manage their own personal financial resources, basically their money, and to learn the skills that would be necessary to start businesses. So if they do like that and take that on, then of course that will splinter out into the senior cycle into 3 business subjects, which are accounting, business, and economics. Obviously, studying those at senior cycle level, it would be advantageous to have done junior cycle business studies, but it isn't absolutely necessary. But probably accountancy, I would say, most of all, having that background from junior cycle level to pursue it then as a senior cycle subject, probably most of all. But again, it's not absolutely 100% necessary. Next subject then is wood technology, just known as woodwork for a lot of people. And wood technology is, in terms of how it will be useful, what you learn is the correct procedures to follow when developing an idea into an actual finished artifact. So it's a kind of like a design and create type subjects. And the type of content that you be covered is that, along with obviously creating something, you'll also be able to identify the right types of materials to create something. So, like, for example, identifying the different types of woods from trees, to understand how important that is in terms of making a product. And also, of course, there's the environmental side of things as well, and being conscious of that. You'll also have the skills to make objects from wood, as I've already said, but to appropriately finish them as well, using paint, varnish, stain, or polish, which are all products that are applied to wood in the finishing side of things. Next one is engineering. Studying this subject, this is where you basically develop an awareness of what engineering is a subject, such as learning the types of skills necessary to engineer products. Again, it's a sort of a design and create type subject. And the course is actually divided into 3 separate parts. The first one is where what's called process and principles. So students will apply their knowledge of materials and equipments to design and manufacture products. So the equivalent for wood used for metal, identifying the right materials, correct materials, ethical sort of source materials to make metal finishing products. You look at the design, again, that's more or less what I've said. Form, choice of materials, making sure that they work well and are long lasting or durable and all that. And then there's the other area, of course, which is mechatronics, and this is high-tech manufacturing, and understanding of how that works, and how it's performed in the workplace, like in factories, in large manufacturing facilities and stuff like that. The next subject then is graphics. Graphics is a subject that really heavily draws upon a student's own, let's say, innate sort of spatial ability, and a capacity to work with abstract problem-solving activities. I think personally for myself, I would find this absolutely impossible, because I just cannot think from an abstract point of view. My brain doesn't seem to operate in such a way as that I can see things the way people who really do well at graphics and really enjoy graphics can do so. So, you'll know your own son or your daughter, whether they their learning process work in such a ways that they can see things abstract and work with spatial awareness and stuff like that. But the course itself consists of 3 parts. 2D graphics, understand how to work with 2D construction shapes and projection systems. So they'll understand how 2D graphics can solve problems, and they'll also then upgrade into the area of 3D graphics. And that's obviously really important, because it really develops your ability in visual imagery and representation. And then applied graphics, in this, you'll actually draw on the knowledge. So this is, again, is the kind of the paradigm of designing and then actually creating something. So the applied aspect is where they will develop their graphics and 3D and 2D graphics and actually create something. And if they like using computer-aided design, then, which is what they use in the schools, called SolidWorks is the name of the platform that they use, or the software that they use, they'll really enjoy this. So again, it'll be down, of course, to the student themselves and how they learn and what they're interested in. That will dictate whether they do this or not, as it will for all subjects. And the last one then is applied technology. Probably know, or everything has become so technological now, and in most cases, technology helps to solve many technological problems that we have in everyday life. And the subject teaches people to think about a problem and then use their knowledge to design a solution to that problem. It will also teach skills in the use of basic tools and equipment, and also understand or identify many different types of materials, and kind of really just understand how electronic circuits work and gear systems work and stuff like that. So it's always a popular course, but it will be a popular course amongst a certain group of people who just love, students who just love technology and love trying to work things out. Again, find that tricky myself. I would have real difficulty trying to work that one out. But again, there's definitely going to be girls and lads who are going to love doing that type of class, and it is definitely something that people then will continue on into senior cycle if they like it at junior cycle level. So how do you go about making wise choices then about your subject choice? Well, your son, your daughter has come to the end of their subject sampling block. So as I said at the outset, they'll be asked to choose two of the 8 subjects studied since the beginning of term. And again, just to re-emphasize, or to just repeat what the subjects are again, I should say: art, business studies, home ec, engineering, music, graphics, wood technology, and applied technology are the subjects of which they pick 2 from. Okay, students, your child should really be careful in considering what choices they make, because the thing about it is that it is difficult to change these subjects once they've been chosen. So in reality, it really requires that little bit of extra time just to make sure that those 2 subjects that they're picking, they're absolutely 100% happy with that before they commit to submitting it back through the form. One thing that is necessary to consider as well, there's not one thing, there's a couple of things, but it needs to be considered which of the sample subjects does your son or daughter enjoy most, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's enjoyment and interest that really dictates, largely speaking, success in the subject. You have to be interested in it. It's really, really most important that you're interested in it, and you feel you can do well at. So that's number one consideration. Which of the sample subjects comes easiest to them? I mean, the reason why it's easy is because they're interested, largely speaking, and they're good at it. So that just follows on, really. Which of the subjects link best with career aspirations? Now, they're only in first year, so there's leaving certs who I'm speaking to at the moment, and they're still finding it difficult to maybe absolutely filter down to the exact thing that they want to do in their career, but that's absolutely fine. You might have your first year son or daughter saying, I want to be this and I want to be that at the moment. That's understandable. That's the stage they are at their life anyway. But if they are, or always were, absolutely so assured about what they wanted to do, it's probably most likely that they'll pick subjects that are linked to that anyway. So it's a consideration, but it's not a massively important one. The good news is that I think a lot of parents sometimes probably worry about the fact that if they don't pick a certain subject, that denies them the opportunity to then pursue it as a career long term. The great news is that there's very few demands in terms of subjects. So where subjects are mentioned, it usually refers to some or all of the following: English, Irish, maths, a language, and a science subject, which are being done anyway. So they're not going to be missing out. They'll already have that on the curriculum, which they have to do. Okay. Because they study all these subjects at junior cert. So, there's really, in reality, there's hardly anything really that they're going to be, nothing really, they're going to be prevented from doing. So there's very, very, very few instances where that happens. So the next thing really would be that you just need to know as well, it kind of follows on from what I've just said there about, even if you didn't take certain subjects. For example, it's not even essential to take business in junior or leaving cert to study business in college. So just bear that in mind. Let's say if there was, I'm giving a classic case of if you didn't do business, does that mean you can never do business after that? Of course you can. It's not a requirement to get into study business at third level in university or college. You don't actually have to have it done to be able to do it. So that's probably good to know. It's not necessary to study home economics in junior or leaving cert to become a chef, for example. So, I mean, that's just another example I'm giving you there. It's nor is it necessary to study technology, graphics, and DCG in order to become an architect. I mean, I'm just going around about the houses here as regards the different types of things. But if you want to become an architect, as an example, it isn't necessary to actually have studied technology or graphics or DCG, although it would be, I would say, desirable to have done so. And it probably is unlikely that they would have suddenly wanted to become an architect if they hadn't already picked it anyway. So things not to do when choosing subjects. This is really important because we were all at that age ourselves, and you know, hanging out with your friends and all that's obviously very important. But that's one aspect there that I'm just going to emphasize about how that may adversely affect your choices. So choose subjects only because your friends are choosing it too. I mean, look, obviously, if you've got a really good friend that's going into class, it might, at that age, you want to go in with your friend because they're going to class, but that is not going to help. It could be something that will affect them greatly because they'll end up doing a subject possibly that they don't like. So choose subject only because the friends are choosing it too. Please ensure that you discuss that with your son or your daughter and make sure that that is not one of the reasons why they're choosing their subject. Another one is the perception that what they're doing is easy. It's only easy if really, in reality, the only thing that aligns with it being easy is because they actually can prove that they're very good at it and know enough about it to say that it's easy. But it's easy on the basis of it just being easy is not really. It's just like the previous factor. Don't go by that. They like the teacher. Another one is a perception among students is that they would find that they will be successful in the subject on the basis of they liking the teacher, or thinking the teacher's a brilliant teacher, whatever. The thing about the teacher aspect is that even if they get on really, really well with the teacher, they think they're great and they think they're really teach their subject well, that's their opinion of it. There is absolutely no guarantee that you'd end up with the teacher that you thought you would have. And besides that, liking the teacher and whatever way they might teach the subject, whatever, that's nothing to do with the subject itself. So please make sure that this consideration, or if it was that they need that is something that they need to avoid doing. There's no guarantee you'll end up with a teacher that you thought you would have, and it's the subject first. That's what really counts, and understanding what it's about and liking it. Another thing is some students may also be kind of influenced by, you know, what your mom might say, what your brother might say. My mom said this, my dad said this, my cousin said this, my uncle said that's not a great subject, don't bother with that, my brother said this. Really is down to the student. If they like it, they're really interested in it, that should be what governs their choice really effectively. You know, students will know that they need to be aware of that. That's part of their development, part of what they learn, that they must be able to rationally choose the advice they get and then do a pros and cons on it with their own interest, you know. But again, it's not a massive thing, but it's something to be aware of nonetheless. And they must also bear in mind that you know, when choosing subjects for leaving cert, it is generally advisable that they have, when they do take at senior cycle, they take senior cycle subjects that at least have had some background they've had in from junior cert. Some subjects will be more difficult than others to take at leaving cert without having a foundation in them at junior cycle. So obviously, you know, taking up accountancy, for example, and not having done business could be quite a big undertaking, you know. That's just as an example. In some cases, it would be really, really difficult, if impossible. Construction, unless you've done construction early on and then trying to pick it up later on, you'd have to be demonstrating. Well, if you haven't done it for 3 years, you'd have to demonstrate how you would be able to do it, and it would be a huge undertaking. Again, it's very unlikely, I would have thought, anyone would have been picking construction up having not done it anyway in the first place. That's just one example. Or engineering, or DCG even. If a student is motivated and prepared to work hard to compensate for any gap in knowledge, it is possible to take up a new subject after junior cert and do well in that leaving cert. That's reinforcing what I just said before. It wouldn't be impossible, but they would have to demonstrate that they were able to pick it up quite easily. Maybe, for example, let's give you a classic example. If it was music or art, maybe they basically were very good at it and were able to tell the teachers at senior level that although I haven't done it a junior cycle, I do piano lessons outside of school. I do a lot of art in my own spare time. So basically, I think I would be able to keep up with it. But that's for the years ahead. But it does warrant thinking about just for now, just in case. So before deciding, students should decide to think carefully about their choices. Read the subject summaries that will be there in this presentation. Look at the support material on the school app. Discuss your choices. That's what students will have to do with you. And, you know, if just to get final confirmation before they submit, if they want to discuss with their subject teacher about the subject, they just try and emphasize that the teachers would be quite happy to hear from any student that wants to hear a little bit more before they submit to it. That's really, really important. As regards the guidance counsellor, myself, so Miss Malloy is the other guidance counsellor, myself, Mr. Dunphy, I'm the second one. So we will be going around to students class by class over the next couple of days. So again, hitting the message home about what they need to take into consideration before making their choices. And you know, there's by all means, if they wanted to approach me after I'd spoken to them, they could come up and ask me questions. I'd be delighted to help them out if there's anything they want to query with me regarding the career choices that they're making over the two subjects. So these are the rules of subject choice. Then, to re-emphasize, kind of cap off what I've just said, students should do what they like and enjoy. Students should do subjects that they're good at. Students should do subjects that should tie in with their career aspirations if they have any. It's not a massive thing. And again, this is the final thing. These are the important dates then. So I'm just having a look here, actually. I think I might have put the wrong dates in there, actually. Let me think here. Yeah, they're the wrong dates. I think I just go back here again because I might have taken the wrong slide out there. So the dates are going back to the very start, and you'll see them at the very start. I'm just going back here. I might have just bear in mind there. So I'm going to ignore what I've just seen there. These are the dates again before I let you go. Yeah, these are the dates again. That slide there is what I wanted to re-emphasize in the following slide. I don't know what that slide was showing there. I think it was showing dates from a previous subject choice thing. These are the actual dates. Again, so I've gone all the way back in the slides. So again, today being October the 14th, by the time you hear me and see me doing this presentation, you will already have received your online subject choice form. We will be going around the next couple of days, the 15th and 16th, to visit the classes. Subject choice forms will be submitted on 17th, which is Thursday, and by Monday, October 21st, students will be assigned to classes and all set to go. So that's pretty much it. That's what I can offer you advice-wise as regards the subject choice for your son or your daughter in first year. So I look forward to meeting you in the future at parent-teacher meetings, and by all means, contact me should you have any queries about anything. But I think you don't need to worry about anything. That everything is in play as regards careers or anything like that. It really is just a case of making sure, again, that your son or your daughter just thinks about what they like and what they're interested in, and don't go where their friends are going just because their friends are going there. That's really it, really. So thanks for listening. You will see that this has actually been recorded and it's been uploaded onto the guidance webpage. So while you are there, I'd like to just let you know that when you do go to the school website, you click on the current students tab, and you'll see that the guidance page is listed on a drop-down list from there. Click on that, and I have uploaded stuff very regularly right up to the present day for students right across the school from first year up to sixth year. So it's also handy for you if you have sons or daughters that are in other years, that there will be information relating to guidance there. And there's a notice board there telling us when talks are coming on for the Leaving Cert groups as well. So just for yourself, you can always know that the guidance webpage is regularly updated. So if there's anything query you have, you'll probably find the answer to it there anyway, because I think I put in practically everything I can think of that a student may ask right across the spectrum. Okay, so thanks a lot again, and all the best with the subject choice. Take care.